Hello everyone and welcome back to Kat's Kitchen. And today we are in my office. So what I wanted to do with this video is just kind of go over some 2023 New Year's goals. I know not everyone always likes to make goals for themselves, but I would like to encourage everyone to jot down a few because that's how, the elite people become successful, is by writing down their goals and always having it in front of them. And whenever you put pen to paper and it starts to, correlate in your mind that, hey, this is now written down and it's going to drive you to achieve those goals. So, and like I've always read and always been told that even if you write down goals and you don't necessarily hit them every single time, that's okay. As long as you get a little bit closer to it than you did before, then that's really what counts. So I'm just going to go down some goals that I have for Kat's Kitchen for 2023. And I'll throw in a little bit of personal goals too. My first personal goal is investing. I know my show's mostly about cooking, canning, and the garden, and all different types of recipes and whatnot. So I'm just going to throw in a little personal one, is investing. If you have not invested yet, as we all know by now, in order to create wealth or a good cash flow, it's really wise to invest your money. You can save your money, but saving your money really isn't working for you. So if you can invest your money, will grow and work for you. Now, as far as what type of investments and whatnot, I'm not really going to talk about that. That's really not what my channel is about. But I would encourage you all to seek out some wise people. I can give out a few. The one person that I mostly look up to is Robert Kiyosaki. He has a YouTube channel called Rich Dad Radio. I would definitely recommend him. He talks about a ton of different investments, everything from crypto to real estate to oil. I believe he does gas as well. He does all different types of investment opportunities. So I would recommend looking at his channel and reading some of his books so that you can get a good idea of maybe what you would like to do. But anytime you're going to take financial advice from someone or investment advice, you definitely want to make sure that they're a credible source. So that's just my little disclaimer on that. So I will be investing for my finances in our wealth building, as well as in myself. So investing in yourself is another really, really good thing to do. So investing in myself, whereas I'm reading a lot more, I'm learning a lot more, maybe learning a different craft or a new way of doing things. We've just moved, for an example, we've just moved to this new property. So another one of my goals is starting a new garden this year. So I'm going to have to learn from the ground up on how to start a new garden on new land. And that's going to be a new learning experience for me. So those things for an example. It's really, really wise to invest into yourself, because if you can invest into yourself, then you're just going to be the best version of yourself that you can be. And then eventually, you'll be able to spread that joy and that love to other people. And it's just going to grow from there. So, and the ripple effect will happen. The better that you become, the more lives you will be able to touch. And then the ripple effect will happen. So the next one is, like I said, we're going to create our new garden this year, and then possibly put up a fence and maybe have some chickens as well. That's another possibility. And more food related is rotating the stock in our pantry, and also before harvest. So like I mentioned, we're going to be putting in a brand new garden this year. We're not sure what it's going to yield. So, for that, I don't want to go through too much of our stock, but maybe about a third or so. That way we can start to rotate whenever we do get some harvest in, come fall. of 2023. That way we'll know exactly, you know, what we can by then, and then what we can use up a little bit more. So this past year we canned peach pie filling, peach simple syrup, peaches of course, and let's see here, peach bourbon butter. That was really, really tasty. And we did salsa, tomato soup, chili, and I did green beans, and then I think a few other basic tomato products. And that was really the gist of what we did this past year, because we were in the process of moving. So we weren't able to get a ton of canning done, but I did want to try to accomplish some new recipes. So that was really successful, I think, especially for all the things in the moving and everything that we had to do this year. So canning some new recipes would be another goal, and also challenging ourselves with some more refined dishes for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and dessert. One of the recipes that I've been wanting to create is a fruit tart, which is basically like a thin crust pastry with custard, usually like a vanilla custard, and then you bake that off, and then you line the top with really pretty fruit, and you just design it really nice. I'm someone that I don't like dessert all the time, but when I do like a dessert, I like it to be really light. Like I usually like, almond torte is probably my favorite. I like tiramisu. I like lemony things. I like citrusy things. So I think this, tart that we're going to make is really going to be tasty. So, and it'll be good for a crowd too. And then, just trying to get a little bit more upscale with maybe different recipes, different techniques, and just learning how to utilize a little bit more alcohol and infusing with the flavors and of everything that we're going to be doing, some more braising and whatnot. I do that currently, but I'd like to get a little bit more familiar with it and knowing exactly what different types of alcohols pair well with different, items and produce and proteins. And the other goal that we're going to have is to do more freezer meals. So I got that idea from Becky over at Acre Homestead, and she just had her little baby boy. So congratulations to her. Go check her out. She is awesome. And the freezer meals have really been working out for Mark and I. We really enjoy them. And they definitely last us for a good 3 days, 3 to 4 days worth of meals, where usually we'll either have dinners out of them or lunches or a little mixture of both. So that's really, really the kind of convenience that I like, especially when we start getting into our busier months where we're working in the garden more often, or especially when canning season comes up next year. Those freezer meals are really going to come in handy, because when you're canning all day long, and sometimes it takes all weekend long, depending on what you're processing and how much you have, I mean, it can really be strenuous, and you just want something nice, hot to eat. And when your stovetops are working with both of your canners, and then if you have an electric canner, they're working on the countertop, and you just want something nice, and at least this, we can pop it out of the freezer, let it thaw a little bit, put it in our oven, and it can be baking, and then we have a delicious meal. So the freezer meals we just made in the past couple of videos, you'll see were stuffed bell pepper, which turned out really, really yummy. I made 2 of those, 2 lasagnas, and I made rigatoni and shells, and oh gosh, and then I made a turkey pie with the Thanksgiving leftovers. Oh yeah, and then after that, I didn't film this one, but I made the chicken piccata. So I made 2 pans of that as well, and that was so yummy. That was just chicken piccata. Normally you put capers with it. I didn't have capers, so I just used what I had. I had some roasted red bell pepper. I put that in there with it, and then I can't remember right off the bat, but I did put some other veggies in there, and then I made like a white wine sauce with the chicken piccata, and it was just really, really tasty, and it heated up really well. So experimenting more with what we can freeze, what will be good, what needs and kind of honing in on that a little bit more of like whenever we cook things, what needs to be partially cooked so that whenever we finish the cooking time in the oven, so that it won't be overcooked, because that's never, you know, a pleasant thing. We want it to, you know, if we're putting all this effort into it, we want it to be really nice whenever we, you know, thaw it out and heat it up in the I'm sorry, not in the microwave, but the oven. So yeah, so those are my general goals for this, you know, 2023 season of Cat's Kitchen. And also, I think we may be going to some local fairs, craft shows, possibly, and just kind of meandering around. I might, you know, end up having like a little tent or something for Cat's Kitchen. I might make some baked goods and whatnot and bring that with me, and just to kind of see everyone, see the public, and, you know, get to meet you guys that are local into Pennsylvania and the Western Pennsylvania area. So yeah, so definitely let me know if that's something that would interest you to, you know, if you'd like me to kind of come out and see you guys and meet you all. I think that would be kind of fun. And I know Becky over at Acre Homestead, she usually goes to, I don't know the name of it right off the bat, but it's like a farmers association in Virginia State. And I'm thinking about maybe going to that as well. So, because that's obviously a lot closer to me than where she is. She's coming from Washington State, because I think it would be fun to meet her and meet a lot of the other, you know, YouTubers and just people that are in this community, because it's a really wonderful community. And we just want to get all the like-minded people together that really want to just kind of homestead and, you know, cook great food, grow great food, and just come together with wonderful ideas. And if you guys have any ideas for me for recipes, canning, or cooking, as well as for my garden, you know, like I said, this is going to be fairly new for me this year, starting it from the ground up. I'm not sure if I want to do raised beds or, you know, last year we made a cinder block bed for my mother-in-law, and that seemed to work out well, but she wants to do it a little differently this year, because the groundhogs were getting in between the cinder blocks and where the fence was. So she kind of wants to redo it a little bit to make it a little bit more sound from the animals. So yeah, so if you guys have any ideas about any of that, and especially the garden is something I'm going to kind of really dig in to learn about now, so that when spring comes, I'll be a little bit more well-versed in what to do and what not to do. And also the placement of the garden too. We have the weather side that comes in this side here of the house, and I'm not sure, like, based on the weather side, where the garden should be placed. Our yard has pretty much full sun all day long. We don't have any trees. The only tree is my neighbor's, and that's kind of in the corner of the property, and that's not too, it doesn't inhibit too much sun from us at all, really. So yeah, so please, I'd really appreciate your suggestions. Let's get a nice conversation going with all these wonderful things. I'd really love to learn from all of you guys that are experienced, and we can help each other reach all of our goals. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will be coming out with some new food videos very shortly. Thanks again. Happy holidays and Happy New Year. Bye-bye, guys.